Hey everyone, welcome to the final episode of our weekly show, Workspace Recap. We've been doing this for 3 years, every single week, and have not missed a single one.
Yep.
It's approximately 156 weeks in a row, not counting our live and special episodes. It takes me around 6 hours, start to finish, to produce an episode each week. So you do the math, and it's starting to take its toll. Together with Steve, we decided to take a break and take the next few weeks to relax and reflect.
Yeah, it's been quite a run. I mean, this is one of the longest things I've ever done in my entire life, consistently for this long. I think that I have had one job that lasted 3 years, and that was about it. So yeah, this was quite a surprise, and like kind of how things started. It just kind of came about through. Like many of you know, I mean, Jesse and I never really met, and we have been doing this for 3 years up until very recently. So it's been quite a run. It's been amazing. I've had a great time, and who knows what'll happen next? We'll see what happens, but yeah, definitely need to change things up. Things need to, it's just kind of been, kind of done with the current format that we kind of have, and we'll see what happens next, and if we do something else together or not, who knows? But it's been great so far.
Yeah, and it's a lot to do the same thing every single week.
Yeah.
For 3 years, and it's my wife's like, I want my nights back. And look, I won't say that this is the end of the show from us. Right. It's just the end of this iteration.
Yeah.
We started the show during the pandemic as a response to the fact that Google was rolling out updates at a frenetic pace, trying to keep up with all of the changes that were happening, trying to catch up with Zoom, trying to just be what we needed them to be and what they really should have been doing for the several years before that, and for whatever reason had stagnated on Workspace and, playing catch up. And while the updates continue coming, it's not as critical anymore to stay this up to date. And I think that's something where the format may change a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah. We've definitely talked about a few ideas we have, and how we might be able to change things up and, make it a little bit maybe less infrequent, a little bit more interactive, a little more dynamic, those kind of things. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, maybe free up some room for some more guests and stuff.
Exactly.
And, make it more conversational. It's starting to feel scripted, and we set out doing this not scripted. Like the script is the show notes, but now it's just the show notes, and it's talking to some folks and whatnot, and you gotta liven it up, gotta put some new blood and some new juice into it. So I mean, look,
here and there,
exactly. We've had 50,000 listens of this show in 3 years. That's a big fucking number. Pardon my French.
For such a
what we've done.
We do. Yeah, it's been
exactly. So we appreciate all of you. We're gonna have to figure out what fresh update new looks like here. Honestly, I want to hear from all of you. Reach out. How can we do this better for you? How can we build this so that we grow more, faster, a different iteration, something else, more of the same? Like, is this working? Isn't it working? There's the creator space is incredible. I'm deep in the creator space, and I have a lot of contacts in the space, and it's wonderful. And there's no better time to be a creator now, other than maybe very early YouTube days. I'm looking at you, MKBHD, and Casey Neistat and whatnot. I'd love to do more stuff like that. I've got a lot of reviews that I haven't had time to edit yet. I'm doing consulting full time starting in the beginning of the year, so that's also going to take more time and change my schedule. So, reach out, let us know what you'd like to see from us and how we can, create better resources for folks like you out there.
Yeah.
That being said, we still have a show to do.
We do. And
once more onto the breach.
They continue to roll out a pretty good amount of updates here, although the categories of these are maybe not as solid as I would expect, though, for the main Workspace audience. But nonetheless, we do have 8 that came out this week, and then a couple in the end of week recap post. We have 10 for you in total. And then really not, the small little minor news update here about message bubbles rollout being stalled, which we got that update there from Christian. Thank you very much. So we'll run through those headlines and take you to basically the last updates here of the the Workspace Recap post as we all know it in its current format. So first we have that admins have started being notified about two-step verification being enforced. And this is obviously a very positive update here, something that really should have been in place from day one. But nonetheless, that is rolling out now. So if you are an admin, you'll start seeing those notifications in various different ways. Next, the dynamic group limit has increased to 500 users and members. And then as we go into our main updates, we have that the Meet Add-on SDK is available in developer preview now. The Huddly camera is going to bring continuous framing to Google Meet Series 1 room kits. Next, you can now record and share your name pronunciation across Google Workspace products. Interesting one there. Next, you can it's easy to access people, documents, building blocks, and more in Google Docs. There is now excuse assignments in Google Classroom. It's an interesting little title there. And it's like, here.
I read that as excuse. I always had excuses for my assignments.
It's like, students now can give you an excuse as to why they didn't finish their excuse. My dog ate the homework.
Google ate my homework.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Google deleted my files. All right. Next one is introducing interactive questions for YouTube videos in Google Classroom. Next, we have our Google Chat one here, in the introduction of the Bitbucket app for Google Chat. And then finally, there is a profile discovery setting here to allow users to display basic information only in search results. And that is something that's available in an open beta. And then, as we said before, in the news here, we have that the update here that Message Bubbles has stalled the rollout. So we'll talk a bit about that. So those are the updates we have for you this week. The first one there, as I said, those admins are going to start seeing the notifications that you have to enable two-step verification. So this is, as I really already started rolling out, I started seeing this quite some time ago. So that you'll start to see that across all your admins. So there is a kind of a period here where there's 30 days prior to enforcement in your domain. So super admins will start to receive various emails and in-app notifications informing them of the forthcoming enforcement and encouraging them to verify their admin's two-step verification status. And then once the enforcement goes into effect, all admins will receive email and in-app notifications upon signing in to the accounts for the next 30 days. And if they do not enable two-step verification in place, they will be locked out and they will need to follow certain steps to recover an administrative account. So definitely do not want to run into that situation, because trying to recover your administrative account, which super admin account, it's not going to take a short amount of time if you don't have a reseller. Because it takes long enough right now if you have an admin account which you forgot the password to and have to recover it. I don't imagine this is going to be a much quicker process. So there are some details here though about how that enforcement is applied based on how many super admins you have. It does say, if your company has 3 or more super admins or more than 500 users, you can't use a secondary username for account recovery. That's kind of disabled. So there's some things to be aware of here. So this is a very important update here for admins. So please make sure you look into this a little bit more, a little further here, and make sure that you have a couple of your super admins at least with this enabled. If you don't, I really don't know why you're listening to this podcast, because you really should have that done already. It's probably most.
Have we taught you nothing?
Right. It's probably most of the people that are not listening to this right now are going to be affected the most. So, it might be worth maybe posting this to some of the more public forums where non-listeners are at. Next. So we have that update to dynamic groups where the limit is being increased to 500. So that increases from 100 to 500. So 5x increase here, which is pretty good. So those will be rolling out. This update here will be rolling out now to rapid release and schedule release domains on a gradual rollout pace, up to 15 days for visibility, and available to pretty much just those. Available to just those select SKUs that have access to dynamic groups. So that is Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Standard, Education Plus, Enterprise Essentials Plus, Cloud Identity Premium, and then I think, and also Frontline Standard. So those are just certain SKUs that are going to have access to that dynamic group limit increase.
I think it's an important update as well as they move. I wouldn't say away from using org units to manage settings, but added the ability for security groups to manage a lot of these settings. Doing dynamic groups with security groups is going to make that much more powerful. And I imagine certain larger organizations are going to need that limit to be higher.
Not even larger. I mean, it's just like, I can't imagine it being set to 100 for this long. I mean, that's such a small number of members if you're really looking at what this could be used for in larger orgs. It's just, So there just must be, a pretty substantial amount of resources needed to kind of constantly monitor for that. That's probably why it was set to 100.
For sure. Initially. It does say in the support article that you can create up to 500 dynamic groups. To request an increase to this limit, contact support with the limit number that you want and the use case or reason for the request. Goes on to say that they consider requests on a case-by-case basis. File the request, go to Google Workspace support.
Oh, yeah. That's good. That's a good call out there. So I think I got that wrong when I was describing it. It is not the number of members in the dynamic group. It is the number of dynamic groups you're going to have in your organization. Which is
total groups,
moving from 100 to 500, right? Yeah, not the members of the dynamic group. That's what that is. So, a little slight correction there to what I was saying earlier. Thanks for that. All right, moving on to our main updates we have here for the week. First one is the Meet Add-on SDK, available now in developer preview. So that is going to be, available now in that preview section. So this was kind of mentioned back when we had the Google Meet API being announced back in November, by November 7th, and also through the kind of the changes here. We'll see some things like Atlassian, Figma, Lucid, all these other kind of third-party apps. Kind of having built upon this here to give us some stuff to see as this rolls out. So as we see the developer preview here, some add-ons can only be deployed within your domain and are only going to be accessible when using Google Meet on the web. So a little bit of limitation in terms of how this is going to be available and possible for you to use. But in those coming months, the Meet Add-on SDK for Android and iOS will expand these capabilities to mobile form factors as well. So keep an eye out for those updates as that continues to evolve. Rollout pace for this one is available now in the developer preview program. So go and check that out if you want to start creating those applications and use cases for you. All right. Kind of complementary to that. Oh, so let me see here. I think I just clicked on the old update here. Let me close that window. Next one here, more Meet stuff. Headlight Camera is going to be bringing continuous framing to Google Meet Series 1 room kits. So this is where we'll start to see that adaptive framing that we talked about a while back coming to the room kits here. So, in part of this change into the rooms, there's also some other things that are happening. So there's an updated camera control tab on the touch controller to display all the framing options available in those meeting room devices, and which allows users to toggle between them. Also, they've moved the camera self view from the manual control component on the touch controller to the TV monitor display for kind of a little bit more optimal placement there. And then also with the meeting spaces becoming more diverse, the display in the most common accessible interface, for all meeting participants. So, and then finally, we have the change from the home button in the manual control to reset to default. So a little bit different views in there, and kind of the menu icons there. Rollout for this one started on the 11th of December, and that was on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility for both scheduled domains, and rep release domains. And of course, available just to those with Google Meet Series 1 room kits. Next, you can now start to record and share your name pronunciation across Google Workspace products. So this is going to, make it a lot more easy for users to pronounce and understand how your name is said. So you'll start to see a play button icon next to the name as someone hovers over your, profile card, or as you hover over someone else's, and be able to click play on that and then listen to how the pronunciation of your name is meant to be said. So if you are particular about that and want to, allow users to understand a little bit more about how to pronounce the name, feel free to record that, and then that will start to show up in your profile. This update here also started on the 11th of December on an extended rollout, a little bit longer than 15 days for visibility on that for both wrap release and scheduled release domains. This is, it looks like it's going to be available to most SKUs here, but there are a few that it won't be available to. So just those that it won't be available to will be Workspace Education Fundamentals, Education Standard, Education Plus, and the Teaching and Learning Upgrade customers. I can imagine why they are not doing it for those SKUs, because I can just only imagine how many students and children might record names in their voice, which actually isn't their name, and is some silly, funny, or kind of maybe rude a name. So what do you want to call
rude,
me? Like
crude, lewd.
Exactly. So I feel like they're delaying that rollout. Probably inevitably, or with some additional controls perhaps in place in the future. It's like
yes and no. If I recall correctly, the putting your pronouns is also not available for education.
Right, that was not,
and that's very puzzling.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's very bizarre because I would expect it to start there.
Well, not for younger children. Just given like all that, I see so much stuff with
fine,
parents,
but
like, saying,
but EDU is colleges as well.
Well, right.
And those are some of the largest Workspace customers, even if they're not paying for it, which I imagine many of them are.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you could just do higher ed and lower ed, that possibly could be segmented there. True. But I can see why, like, K-12 is
for
not
kids, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
My name is Fluffy Potato Pants.
And I am a dog cat pronoun.
Exactly.
Right. All right. Next update here, some more easy access to people, documents, building blocks, and more in Docs. So there is a little bit pause also, a little update here, because this came out on the 11th of December. And then we had a little subsequent update here on the 14th of December that they've paused the rollout for this feature. They evaluate the performance and quality as they will kind of continue to update and provide us more info as they resume the rollout there. So this is something that users would if you able to see let's say when moving a blank line with your doc, you're going to see an add button there with the option to select and then search and insert smart chips for all those different kind of options there. So yeah, I don't know why the performance on this would have been that bad. Although one thing I have started to notice though about smart chips is that menu is getting to be pretty long and like it's extensive now. When you start to do an @ symbol in Docs, it's like that list is getting long. It used to just be like
you ever done a slash in Notion?
Oh, really? Is there lots? No, I don't use Notion.
It's pages and pages of scrolling of options. Really?
Yeah, I mean, right now, there's just like, drop down, there's people, then there's smart trips, date, stopwatch, timer, task, variable, voting chip, placeholder chip. Then you got the meeting notes. So the ones that I use the most is email draft, right? And meeting notes. And those are now all the way down at the bottom. Those are all down at the bottom now. I can't, I have to scroll down.
You start typing meeting notes and it pops up, doesn't it?
I know, but if I just want to like type @ and then click on it, like that's kind of what I'm used to before. And now I got to scroll down. Like I I can't even have like a full, like my 4:3 screen doesn't even allow that menu to like expand long enough where I can even see it. It stops right at the top of building blocks. So
Wow.
yeah, um, yeah, I know. I feel like there'll be a redesign of that menu at some point in the future. That's probably what will happen
Likely.
there. Yeah. So I would talk about the rollout pace here, but it's all been paused. So I would just say keep an eye out for subsequent updates on when this is going to be rolled out. If you want to learn more about that, just have a look at all the updates that are being released. Next update is the ability to excuse assignments in Google Classroom. So as part of all the expansion of the grading systems of our classroom, there's now an additional feature here for teachers to give them a little bit more flexibility when it comes to grading for assignments and classwork. So starting on Tuesday this week, Tuesday last week, teachers can start to mark an assignment for a particular student as excused instead of giving it a 0 to 100 score. So that will start to exclude the particular assignment from the student's overall grade, and it will kind of not negatively impact them as much if they, as they previously probably had to, give them either, some grade level there or some number there, 0 to 100, right? So now they can just be excused. Yeah.
I'm shocked that this has not been a feature up until now. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know anything really when it comes to excusing and grading, and I'm not a teacher by any stretch of the imagination, but I would really feel like I would think that this should have been in there for
I don't know. I mean,
quite some time now.
I mean, I don't remember getting any assignments excused from when I was in school. Either I did it or I didn't. And if I didn't do it, I got a 0. That's kind of what happened. I don't remember getting excused for anything, but this, clearly a nice feature. So this has started to roll out on the 12th of December on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility on both rapid release and scheduled release domains for those customers with Classroom and purchase Google accounts leveraging Classroom. So available to everyone, really. Next, we have an update here about YouTube videos. So there are there's now the introduction of interactive questions for YouTube videos interactive questions for YouTube videos in Google Classroom. There we go. So educators can now turn on any YouTube video into an interactive lesson by adding some questions for students to answer throughout the video. And this will kind of just make things a little bit more interactive and intuitive when you are using videos within the classroom environment. So they'll be able to kind of start to use this pretty much right now, as that rolled out on the 12th of December on a full rollout up to 12 to 15 days, or sorry, on a full rollout with 1 to 3 days for visibility on both rapid release and scheduled release domains. And as an admin, it looks like you have to turn this on as an administrator to allow these additional services here for educators. So keep that in mind and have a look at that and see if your teachers can start to leverage this new feature. So you need to enable that for them. All right. Next, we have another update to Google Chat. So this is the introduction of the Bitbucket app to Google Chat. So this is going to be some more third-party applications, leveraging those APIs to be able to to do things a little bit more seamlessly within the chat environment there. So for those of you, I think most of you probably know what Bitbucket does. It is just like GitHub, kind of for code-based push-pull, CI/CD type of environment. And this is Atlassian's version of that. So I think we talked about Atlassian coming out with some things in the previous announcement here early in the episode. But this one here will be a feature that is going to be available now for all users. And this is something that users can start to leverage if admins have enabled it by going to the install Google Chat applications and finding Bitbucket there for Google Chat and taking advantage of that new integration. And then last but not least, we have profile discovery, which is going to be a new setting here in the admin console to allow your users to display basic information only in search results. And this is going to be something that is available in a public open beta here. So if you are curious about this one, I think I'm a little bit curious about this one. Is what I guess what I want to say, because right now I'm using a I don't know if it's a feature, functionality of Google Chat, for example, to try to figure out email addresses of people. If I don't know exactly what their email is, right? I'll know the person's name. I'll know generally the company's format of their emails. And I can start typing in an email address, and then within Google Chat, and then I'll start to see, if I get the email correct, it'll pop up with a logo of the person, an image of the person, or additional information of that person. So I'm curious to know if this is a setting that might prevent that from happening moving forward, because I have definitely enjoyed using this feature up until now. So hopefully that does not change functionality of trying to guess people's Google email addresses. And
I'm going to change your title to Steve Larson, investigative emailer.
Yes. Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what kind of impact that might have if you want to toggle that off and allow users to kind of control that visibility to their profiles. So this is a feature that will be off by default. Will need to be turned on at the domain OU or group level if you're an admin, and then that'll allow your users to then make that adjustment within their profile information under the personal info, profiles, and manage your profile discovery settings. I thought that this was always somewhat available already. There's certain fields and information that you can say as an end user, display this information only within your organization or publicly. So I guess this is going a little bit step further and looking at the overall profile information in general, and control.
There's a lot of security around the sharing availability of your calendar, right. For example, if people can see your events or just see that it's busy, that kind of a thing.
Yep.
So makes sense.
Yep. And that rollout also started on the 12th of December. That is on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility for both rapid release and scheduled release domains. And this is available to all Workspace customers. All right. Well, that was the last update.
That's it.
That was it.
Then I don't have any news for everyone, but Christian Newman brought this to our attention, that he still wasn't seeing the chat bubbles rolling out to everybody yet. And it turns out they paused the rollout for this as well for the same reason, to evaluate performance and quality. So they'll provide an update once the rollout resumes. Stay tuned to the Workspace Updates blog for more information on that, I suppose. And stay tuned for the episode that we did with Christian, which I did promise a couple of weeks ago or a while ago. I'm going to try and get that out this week. Sorry, Christian, it's been a while. Some of the stuff in there, some of the references we make may not be as recent as they would have been if I had published it right away, but time permitting. So hopefully we'll get that. But that's a wrap. That's that's all, folks, right?
There you go.
Like I said, please, first of all, we appreciate you listening to us every week. We don't want you to go away. Don't hit the unsubscribe button. Stay subscribed. Hit subscribe. There's more coming from Tab Geeks in general, as well as, I'm sure, more coming from us in one manner or another. One fashion or another, just have to figure that out. So help us do that. Brands send out this, we want to hear from you kind of a thing at the end of the year. I guess that's what we're doing here. Let us know how we can improve the show, redo the show, change things on the show, how best to educate and entertain and be with you throughout the year. So thank you, Steve. Good show, as they say in radio, in showbiz. And I guess signing off for now. Happy New Year, everyone. Merry Christmas if you celebrate. Happy holidays, etc. And we'll see you next time on Workspace Recap.